In early childhood development, we are going through some major changes in order to really increase our quality and best practice in all areas within our department. NAEYC standards are driving part of our baseline thinking as we go through the process, and it's going very well. I think we've had 3 or 4 meetings, and in that time frame we've been able to revise every one of our course objectives. In our first meeting, we sat and just talked about what types of things we were going to start looking at, and that we'd start with objectives and assessments and learning activities, and that's exactly what NAEYC requires of me too. Every meeting we've spent 2 or 3 hours because we get very engaged in the process. It's just a back and forth. The favorite part for me is just all the interaction, because everybody is, I think, feeling trusting and confident that they can speak openly. I think that's so important in a process where you've got a dozen people collaborating at a table. You've got to let everybody be heard, and I think that's been a wonderful part of the process, and I think you all do a great job of facilitating that. We're looking at the standards to make sure we're going to meet those standards, because the objectives are the goals, and then the idea is for each student to be able to achieve those objectives, and we will assess them to determine that the results are in fact what we say they are. You might have 3 or 4 faculty teaching the same course, and if they're aligned and teaching to the same objectives, then I can ensure that each student is getting the same content and the same important high-quality information.
So we are in the process of developing a new curriculum so that we can basically assess at a program level to see what what it is that BCS students should have when they graduate our program. We've kind of come up as a department with a set of concepts. I believe there are 10 concepts, and then there are a set of diseases that we expect every BCS student to know when they get out of our program. We're going to have to scaffold a lot of the curriculum. And one of the things that will also allow us to do is to teach those 10 concepts in every course, so that the students get repetition of those 10 concepts. So we may teach it at a lower level in our nutrition, and then a little higher level in our anatomy, and then even at a higher level when they get into the 200, we're stepping them up as they go.
So I like that we're getting a cross-section between all of our different classes, so we can see what each other's teaching at a particular time. Like with microbiology combined with anatomy, we start with just basics in metabolism and subjects like that, but Dick dives into that in a lot deeper depth sometimes, and it's good for me to know what he needs for those beginning steps, so we can kind of cross-section the 2 different classes to make sure they're getting everything that they need to move on.
Having that ability to know that there's a foundation already there allows me to really pick up at a certain point and build even higher. Well, I think it's a great opportunity for everybody to bounce ideas off of each other. I mean, this way we get to see everybody's perspective and we can kind of work together.
It also helps we don't all teach all the classes. We just can't. So we tend to have our specialties, and then we can all get together and see which direction we need to go when we are doing that scaffolding.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest kind of surprises, I usually teach upper level, and so I had some assumptions that, hey, this was already hit to this degree, and then everybody coming together and talking about it, my assumptions were a little off. But that was great, because that allowed me to know that, no, I do have to kind of reach that level. But by the time we're done with the scaffolding, hopefully, I can have that assumption of what they know coming in, and then we can build even higher then.
I expected it to take a lot longer, but we knocked out the concepts and the diseases like in 2 meetings. And what we're doing now is we're divide out into smaller groups, work within our disciplines to come up with the learning objectives that fill into those concepts, and then we'll meet as a group again and kind of do the scaffolding. Idea Lab also has a new software program that will allow us to see holes of where that is, and we've already found some things that we didn't expect because of that, and so I think that's very valuable as well.